Kilmactigue, a parish in the Ox Mountains, not very different from other rural parishes hereabouts. 3 churches, 5 schools and a convent, about 500 parishioners. Small farmers with just a little grazing. No industries, not a great deal to do with your spare time if you have any. And like many a place around here, plenty of empty houses, the homes of families who've emigrated. In 12 years, the parish has lost possibly 1/5 of its men and women and children, all gone to England or America. By all accounts, they're great wanderers here in Kilmactigue. 42 men born here are now working in the foreign missions, not to speak of over 100 nuns. But wherever they go, these families, they leave empty homes, those abandoned, decaying ruins which are all too familiar in the west of Ireland. But need these homes fall into ruin? Perhaps not if a cooperative scheme now being planned here becomes effective. Cooperation in many spheres has been suggested before to save the West and restore to it some modest prosperity. But this is cooperation on a rather different scale. Father Chisty McLoughlin and the local committee see no reason why houses deserted by emigrants should fall to wreck and ruin. He suggests that they should be let to summer visitors, fishermen from England who would perhaps try for the 3 and 4 pound trout that are said to lie in these mountain lakes, or just to people wanting peace and quiet. And how many of these houses, Father, the empty ones, are really habitable at the moment?
I'd say approximately 7. 5 definitely at the present moment, and 2 in the very near future. You would have them ready for
people to go
ready
into
for
them.
people to go into them.
Well, now, how will you persuade visitors to come and live in these houses?
Well, like everything else, I suppose it would take a lot of publicity. And I think the local people, especially those who have left the parish, could do an awful lot in this line. The only thing is we have to deliver the goods, as it were, when they get the people for us to come into the houses. Also, we are advertising on the English papers and trying to make the prospect for the visitor as enticing as possible.
Well, how do you go about that?
Well, we have a lot to compete with. But in actual fact, we have more to offer than most places. Even competing with the seaside, we produce the house there, and as an added amenity, we produce the donkeys, a donkey for each house for the families. Added to that, we can have the local farmers have quite a few ponies, and we resurrect a lot of the traps from the area. And I don't see why we shouldn't be able to entice these people. Along with that, then, for the man of the house himself, we can produce fishing, and if he wants to come in the winter time, we can produce shooting.
These are the tourist attractions, as it were, of this district.
Yes.
Because it is in a rather remote area of the country, isn't it?
Yes, but that is the attraction of the area too, I think.
That you can offer them peace and quietness.
Well, peace and quiet, you might say that.
But won't you have to do these houses up to provide reasonable facilities like toilets and running water inside?
Well, these facilities exist already, you know, in many of the houses.
But are the houses big enough, do you think? I mean, they're all pretty small cottages, aren't they?
Yes, but the new housing problem in England and all that, I don't think that used to many houses, you might say, over there, and you have 2 or 3 rooms in the place, along with the bathroom facilities.
The cooperation then comes in not just the cost, but in the profits as well, I take it.
Oh yes, in the profit. So that's the idea. We're starting a co-op in these number of houses, and even the first year, if we don't get all the houses hired out, we'll take the running expenses for the houses that are hired out and divide the rest among the houses that are in the co-op.
Well, I see how this can benefit people who are still here, but is it likely, do you think, to bring the emigrants back, to re-people the area?
Well, those are the people I am really interested in actual fact, because they're coming back, and more of them would come back if they could bring their families with them.
If it doesn't work, Father, what becomes of Kilmactigue and all these old houses?
It's going to work.